Every few years, Hollywood returns to the same ancient story. Big budgets, legendary monsters, gods clashing in the skies, and a heroic voyage across turbulent seas. The latest cinematic adaptation of the Odyssey invites us back into this mythic world. But if we only see this story as a spectacle of swords, CGI storms, and sirens, we miss the point entirely. Homer did not write the Odyssey to entertain us with monsters. He wrote it as a timeless psychological map of the human condition, a brutal analysis of identity, trauma, and the existential weight of existence. We live in an age of unprecedented physical comfort and digital hyperconnectivity, yet millions of people wake up every morning feeling profoundly displaced. We are surrounded by continuous noise, trapped in dense urban crowds, yet locked in an inescapable sense of exile. The ancient Greeks had a word for this precise emotional burden: algos, the sharp pain, the grief, the longing for what was lost. When combined with nostos, the physical journey home, it created the word we still use today: nostalgia. But in our modern usage, nostalgia has been sanitized into a soft, romantic feeling. For Homer, nostos was not a peaceful sentiment. It was a violent, grueling struggle against total erasure. Odysseus's journey was never just about reaching a physical island called Ithaca. It was about the agonizing effort to rebuild a coherent identity after the war of life has shattered everything you thought you were. Before Odysseus ever set sail for home, he spent a decade at the gates of Troy. He witnessed the collapse of civilization, lost close companions, and committed horrific acts of war in the name of victory. When the conflict finally ended, the real tragedy began. He realized he could not simply put down his armor and step back into his old life. Trauma strips a human being of their fundamental narrative. When you endure long periods of survival mode, the quiet structure of ordinary life no longer feels natural. It feels foreign. The journey across the Aegean Sea is not a literal geographic map. It is the agonizing psychological transition from survival back to living, a process that requires facing every hidden shadow within the human psyche. Consider the surreal obstacles Odysseus encounters along his path. They are not random mythological beasts created for dynamic action sequences. They are precise metaphors for internal traps. On the island of the Lotus-Eaters, men consume a sweet, addictive plant that wipes away their memory. They forget their past, their responsibilities, their ambitions, and their pain. It offers absolute tranquility through total numbness. In our modern landscape, how many of us retreat into our own versions of the lotus? Endless digital doom-scrolling, compulsive consumption, chemical escapes, and superficial distractions, just to numb the quiet despair of our daily reality. The Lotus-Eaters do not destroy your body with weapons. They destroy your soul by making you comfortable with your own stagnation. Or consider Calypso, the beautiful nymph who holds Odysseus captive on her isolated paradise island of Ogygia. Calypso offers him literal immortality, eternal youth, and endless material comfort, requiring nothing from him in return. By every modern standard, this is the ultimate dream. Security without risk, pleasure without effort. Yet every single afternoon, Odysseus sits on the cold, barren rocks of the shore, looking out across the grey ocean, weeping until his chest aches. Why? Because a golden cage is still a prison. Comfort without purpose, security without agency, is a slow, silent death of the human spirit. To accept Calypso's offer would mean living forever as a forgotten ghost, erased from the human story. Odysseus actively chooses mortality, aging, and relentless suffering over a sterile, comfortable existence that demands he forfeit his true path. And then there are the Sirens, creatures who sit on fields of decaying bones, singing melodies of unmatched beauty. They do not tempt sailors with crude physical desires. They tempt them with infinite knowledge and total understanding of the past. They sing to Odysseus about everything he suffered at Troy, promising that if he stops his ship and listens, he will leave fully enlightened. The Sirens represent the dangerous, seductive traps of the intellect and past regret. They whisper exactly what your ego longs to hear, inviting you to obsess over what was lost until you lose control of the wheel and shatter against the rocks of the present. The deepest psychological horror of the epic occurs on the island of Circe, the sorceress who transforms Odysseus's crew into swine. Circe does not alter their physical bodies by force alone. She exposes their underlying nature. When men lose their moral compass, when they are driven purely by fear, appetite, and primitive impulse, they degrade into animals long before their physical form changes. Odysseus must consume the sacred herb moly, a symbol of philosophical grounding and unyielding self-awareness, to resist her magic. It is a reminder that remaining human in a world that constantly seeks to dehumanize you requires conscious, disciplined resistance. When Odysseus finally washes ashore on the soil of Ithaca after 20 years of war and wandering, the story reaches its most profound revelation. He does not even recognize his own home. Athena wraps the island in a thick, disorienting mist. The physical landscape has changed, the power structures have decayed, and most importantly, he is no longer the young king who left for war 2 decades ago. The home he spent 20 years dreaming about existed only in his memory. This is the ultimate, unapologetic truth Homer leaves us with. You can never truly return to who you were before the storm. The past cannot be re-inhabited. The old version of you is dead, and trying to resurrect it will only cause further grief. Home is not a static physical location waiting for you to find it. It is an internal state of being, a spiritual architecture you must rebuild, piece by piece, out of the broken fragments of your experiences, your losses, and your choices. We are all sailors navigating our own treacherous seas, steering through internal storms, and searching for a place where our souls can finally rest. The waters may be chaotic, the illusions seductive, and the exile long, but the wheel remains in your hands. Until next time, look Everfar.